She's working to pull it up for me right now so we can show you at home as we await
I'm
President
live.
Trump making his remarks.
Man, this is heavy.
And of
Maduro's
course,
been
we're doing this
captured.
all kind of on the fly here. So what I want to do is kind of pop this up on your screen in full. Again, the second that we see Trump walk up, you will not miss any of that here. But this
Apparently,
is actually
his
a
wife's
post
been captured
coming in
too.
from Truth Social. Big thank you to Ryan, a producer here at Live Now from
This
Fox.
is a picture of him in
And you can
custody.
see that photo. Looks like Nicolas Maduro's eyes are covered here. He has a bottle of water in his hand, and it says Nicolas Maduro on board the USS Warship there that is bringing him over to New York. We know that's where he's indicted. So we definitely wanted to bring this post to you here on Live Now from Fox. A big thank you to our producer, Ryan, who was able to find that and pull it in. But again, that is the first of the images that we have seen of Maduro in custody just coming in as he and his wife are traveling right now by boat over to New York where they face that indictment. We have not received an update just yet on the timing of when all of this should be getting underway, but we're keeping an eye on that. And of course, we did get the alert, as I mentioned, around 11 a.m. from the White House, which normally indicates that they are about to start any moment now. However, as you can see, if you're watching us here, it has not started just yet. A live look there at the podium once again with the presidential seal as we await this beginning anytime soon here. The second it does begin, I promise you will not miss any of this here on Live Now from Fox as soon as President Trump does start speaking in just a matter of moments. And it does look like President Trump did release that image that I told you about of Maduro and showed you, but also video of the strikes themselves that he posted moments ago on Truth Social. We've seen a lot of the different videos, kind of short clips that have come in, but he did also release video that shows the explosions here. I'm going to work to pull that up for you here on your screen as well as we do await the comments from President Trump and Secretary Hegseth. And unfortunately, not able to pull that up just yet. But as I mentioned, our producer Ryan is working on that. So we're going to show it to you as soon as we get it. But it just provides a little bit more context on all of this. And if you are just joining us, we are just past the half-hour mark. It is 11:31 on the East Coast and 8:31 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and we've been here all throughout the morning with the help of my colleague, Christy Matino, and our wonderful producers here, Markima and Ryan, who have been basically gathering all of the information as well so we can bring it to you first here on Live Now. As we await the comments from President Trump, which should be taking place here in just a matter of moments, you can see the podium has been set up. This was slated for 11 a.m. Eastern time, and right now we are about 32 minutes after that. We did at one point receive a 5-minute warning, and then a bit later on, we received a 2-minute warning. Not sure of the reasoning behind the delay, but we are still awaiting this. And as I pop this up on your screen, you can see the reporters who are in the room there in Mar-a-Lago, including Lucas Tomlinson with Fox News, who is kind of there in the background. He's posting all over Twitter or X, depending what you call it. So you can actually check out his posts as well. And we're bringing those to you as soon as he provides that information. Now, I also do want to go through some of the other posts that are coming in from different lawmakers as they react. We're talking both Republicans and Democrats. And of course, as I mentioned, Republicans are essentially praising this while Democrats seem to be against it. The only Republican that we have seen so far come out against it is Thomas Massie, who has been a big critic of President Trump over the last several months and really several years. Lindsey Graham, senator, of course, from South Carolina, saying, to the pathetically weak and hand-wringing liberal Democrats who seem to be okay with a perpetual drug caliphate in our backyard, the centerpiece of which is Venezuela, get a grip. If you can't celebrate the fact that our military under President Trump's command bravely captured and brought to justice an evil, corrupt narco terrorist
Hmm.
dictator with American blood on his hands, then your hatred of President Trump denies you the ability to celebrate making America safer and creating a path for liberating the highly oppressed people of Venezuela. Let it be known that when the modern Democrat Party is in charge, they could care less about protecting your money from fraudulent enterprises. And when it comes to confronting evil, focuses on absurd, quote, legal theories and is virtually a.
One thing I can guarantee you that's going to happen throughout the day is Democratic networks trying to spin this. I might even spy in on one and see what they're saying in a few minutes. I don't want to miss Trump speaking though. Oh, I can just imagine. Can't wait. I can't wait for the usual suspects. 6 o'clock tonight, prime time. How they spin this and turn it into something bad.
Wall for the cause of freedom. Disgusting. They're likely that they are doing kind of a final briefing, an update here for all of the folks that will be involved in this effort here. And really briefly, I know I don't really want to go away from this shot because I want to make sure that we keep it up so we see as President Trump does enter into the room. We do have this live image that is over, looks like it's in the area of Venezuela, where you can see what looks to be a heavy military presence at this hour. We're getting a lot of these live images, and we've also seen a lot of folks who have essentially been gathering in large groups. We're talking tens, hundreds, thousands of people who are all over the place as they are essentially gathering, trying to figure out what's going on. Earlier, it appeared that many of them were
might be some
supporters of
chaos.
Maduro.
Stay
However,
tuned.
what we've heard now is that a lot of those people who were there were just essentially trying to figure out what was going on. They heard that this situation, had unfolded, but weren't sure on the details. So that's why they gathered in the streets so they could speak to people. Some of them were holding signs, though, in support of Maduro. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat, saying Trump promised no, quote, new stupid wars, yet he's starting one with Venezuela without congressional approval. People can't afford groceries and millions are losing health care, but this is where his focus is. This is unconstitutional and not what the American people asked for, end quote. Republicans showing the praise for this and Democrats continuing overall to show their opposition to it. We will have several of those lawmakers on throughout the day and be in touch with them so we can bring you all of the latest information. And of course, we're keeping an eye on different developments in the situation here, things that President Trump has and has not said just yet. As I mentioned, the president did post a photo on social media showing Maduro wearing a sweater. Nicolas Maduro on board that warship. Going to pop it up for you right here on your screen. That is the first photo that has been released by U.S. officials showing Maduro in custody as he is on that U.S. warship headed for New York, where he has been indicted. He and his wife both indicted and expected to face some serious charges there.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite clear if we are going to get any sort of live images from inside the courtroom when they arrive, or even images that show their arrival. However, anything we get, we're going to bring to you live, uninterrupted, on Live Now from Fox. That is what we do. President Trump telling Fox News a bit earlier on today that he actually spoke to Maduro several times, including most recently about a week ago. Maduro denied that in an interview on New Year's Eve, saying he had only spoken to Trump in November. But President Trump did say that he spoke with Maduro about a week ago, and Maduro said he was not going to surrender. So the next step, of course, was to go in and seize Maduro and his wife, taking them into custody and bringing them back to the U.S. to face the charges. We also saw some video of smoke rising from the military base there in Venezuela's capital of Caracas earlier on this morning. And it was one of a number of sites that were hit by those American strikes overnight. Again, I keep saying it, but this all happening just hours ago there. There were bombed buses with shattered windows. There was shrapnel seen next to some charred armored vehicles there, sending up a plume of smoke There was some fallen street lights, chunks of nearby trees littering the streets, while hefty metal fences and signs were bent at sharp angles following the blast. We also have heard from President Trump as he spoke with Fox News. He did mention here that essentially there were some injured folks out there, U.S. Military personnel who were injured in the attack. We see President Trump. Let's lift the audio.
Here we go.
We appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II.
Wow. Wow.
It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently.
Obliteration and
In
decimation.
an operation known as Midnight Hammer. All perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have.
They put him in darkness.
It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success.
Pause this for a second. These people might be lined up to be executed. That's highly possible.
Overnight, with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, like never before. These highly trained warriors, operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement, caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, we're just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest, and most fearsome military on the planet by far, with capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have. And you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea.
Whew.
90%. Each boat kills 25, on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%.
Damn.
And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
Wow, he said they're going to run the country. This is big.
So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela. And that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We've had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time.
Now, that's what they're going to say. They're going to say this is all about oil. I guarantee you. That's what's coming next. Guaranteed.
They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave.
Wow.
If we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually.
Wow.
This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, the many, many Americans, hundreds of that. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Right now, they're on a ship they'll be heading to, ultimately, New York. and then a decision will be made, I assume, between New York and Miami or Florida. But we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could allow to take place. For many years after expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. And you all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over, in particular, the United States, Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide. And he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they call police. They were brutal, but they're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate our military, Pete, and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. A little bit of a different kind of a threat, but we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have two, on average, 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore. The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're walking their daughters. They're walking their children, their wives. They walk to restaurants. Restaurants are opening all over Washington, D.C. So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military. And I want to thank law enforcement. Been amazing. And they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and crime is down. We've just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called, great person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know, in a certain very nice part of Louisiana, and we have done that. It was a rough section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing, and we've only been there for 2.5 weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster and the mayor was a disaster, but it knocked down crime. But we're pulling out of there. When they need us, we'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. That's long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need the credit. But we'll be pulling out when they need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the country. But the gangs that they sent raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were in all of the cities I mentioned, Tren de Aragua.
Wow.
And they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people. And now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. There will no longer be threats. For years, I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans whose lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan terrorist organization. Really one of the worst. One of the worst. They say the worst. Americans like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungary. What happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives.
It's an invasion.
And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons, a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions. They sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States.
That's insane.
But no longer. And we have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and stole American oil, American assets, and American platforms, costing us billions and billions of dollars. They did this a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They took all of our property. It was our property. We built it. And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill, and the socialist regime stole it from us during those previous administrations, and they stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it. America will never allow foreign powers to rob our people or drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region and acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they used those weapons last night. Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries. And not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines. And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal. But we've superseded it by a lot. By a real lot.
By a real
They
lot.
now call it the Monroe Document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago. The future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now. Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our national security. Just like tariffs are, they've made our country rich, and they've made our national security stronger than ever before. But these are the iron laws that have always determined global power. And we're going to keep it that way. We will secure our borders. We'll stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels, and we will defend our citizens against all threats, foreign and domestic. Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever to defend America, but I will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options until United States demands have been fully met and fully satisfied. All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they aren't just, fair, even to their people. The dictator and terrorist, Maduro, is finally gone, and Venezuela people are free. They're free again. It's been a long time for them, but they're free. America is a safer nation this morning. It's a prouder nation this morning because it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's fantastic.
Raisin Kane.
I worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some
Wait a
I
minute.
didn't respect.
I have to
worked
hear
with
that
some
again.
They just weren't good. But this guy is fantastic. Good. I've worked with a lot of generals. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's fantastic man. I've worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect. I worked with some they just weren't good. But this guy is fantastic. I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice. And I'm very proud of him. And I'm very proud of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Can you explain how the U.S. will run Venezuela?
All right, I don't want to hear Pete said it. Hegseth. So let's go to X. Look at some videos they got over here. See what's going on. Let's see what's going on X. Man. I wonder if this is the bombing right here. The United States of America successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader. Those are the explosions. Damn, shit raining down from the sky. What the hell is that? There's already stuff. Wow. I wonder what that was. Sheesh.
Sí, sí. De hecho, esa cúpula que lleva arriba, mira, ahí vemos.
What the hell is that?
Sí, sí. De hecho, esa cúpula que lleva arria, mira.
Yo, that is crazy.
Ahí vemos esa imagen.
Those are protesters being run over by tanks. This is mad. Oh my God.
Esto no es la primera vez que sucede.
This is how Maduro is moving, man.
De hecho, esa cúpula que lleva arriba, mira.
This happened on his order. It had to be. It's his military. Man, this was crazy. Crazy times we live in, man. Crazy times. I guess this is people celebrating. All right, that's that. So the people are rejoicing. This was just a quick live. It is what it is. Man, I'm pretty sure the Democratic news networks are going to spin this some type of way. I guess I'll go check some of that out, make a video about it if they get a little too crazy. And maybe some conspiratorial stuff will come out that I'll land on and do a video about it. But for now, no fancy outros and nothing. I'm ending this video. I'll be combing the internet for more news on this. Stay tuned, though. But if you see this, subscribe. And I'll be back with another one soon.